And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And we are seeing a very strange occurrence because Steve's back on the fan forum for the first time actually since we departed. So,
did the fans want this, Steve? Did the fans want this after me replacing you? I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We had to, I had to just come jump in, make sure the show's still ticking, see what everybody's had to say. Just keep an eye on you guys, make sure that
you're still relevant on these Thursdays here, Stevie.
Yeah, there we go.
It's cool for us now.
I'm not the weekend special. Yeah, so it's tough. At the end of the day, I had a day break between going to games, so I thought I might as well come and grace people with my presence. I was at the stadium last night, at the stadium tomorrow night, at the stadium on Sunday. It's tough work out here.
Oh, Chris, you're the only one missing out on Sunday.
Yeah, so we talk about this. So first of all, Chris, would you like to tell the viewers why on Sunday when we do a Forever Sports meetup, you will not be present?
Because I'm going to Paris to the bigger games. Not those lower class pool games that are already decided. I'm going to the
basically
big boys.
Martin Libbok got benched and that was Chris Art. He was like, no, I'm not.
You mean that I'm not going to pay to watch Pollard playing at 10 and messing around? No, that's what.
You see, there we go.
You sort of pushed me in there, yeah.
Yeah, no, we've got a lot to talk about. Right, so everybody who is jumping in, welcome to the show. We will be live until 8 o'clock, whereupon you guys will then be redirected towards the Japan versus Samoa watch-along, which we will be with yours truly, coming to you live out of Lyon. It's been a very, very cool city, actually. I've really enjoyed our week here, which has been quite cool. And we're to Marseille this weekend. And as you can see, I'm joined by Chris and Dan. This is actually an all-European show, actually, because I'm France-based these days. So, as Grant was saying there, who's the French Trudeau on the channel? Yeah, I'm basically having to sort of really. I'm actually basically part Uruguayan after I got caught up in their mob last night. So that was fun.
Sure.
But chaps, first of all, how have we been?
Yeah, superb.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, enjoying the rugby, of course. Yeah, been good. More winners on the show. So.
We are going to a World Cup game on Sunday, and at Rhodes, back at Varsity, there's a reputation for some interesting haircuts and interesting looks. Do we have anything planned for Sunday?
Listen, the beard isn't here for the beard itself, so you'll be seeing the snore. Will be sitting lazy on the top lip come Sunday.
There you go. That is what I was hoping we were going to hear from.
Might extend a little. Something, but yet to be decided.
Handlebars there. Okay, cool.
It was on short notice, It was on short notice.
No, it is. It's fair. It's fair. But you've got the tools to work with at the end of the day. So
and Stevie is same as you. Are you also going some handlebars there? You two together?
No, see, my problem is I got a fire break if I do a handlebar, so it's like it just looks very disconnected. So no, I will not be. Worried about doing anything like that. I can't pull it off like Dan can at the end of the day. So, when you've got the gift, you've got to use it.
Yeah.
But, right. So, chaps, over the next hour, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got a Springbok lineup, which is going to be very interesting to chat about. Obviously, the whole Pollard versus Libbok debate does take center stage tonight. We have had a bit of information out of the Bok camp with regards to what the situation will be when it comes to our number 10s following this past weekend. So, we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen on that. We'll also be talking a little bit about the weekend games, France versus, New Zealand versus Italy tomorrow night. It's going to be quite a cool game. And, we're coming in the second last weekend of the group stages. So, things are really starting to heat up with regards to teams going out, teams potentially trying to book their spot in the next round. We really said goodbye to Namibia last night. Could be saying goodbye to a lot of teams this weekend. And also, main thing is teams can start to book their spots in quarterfinals this weekend, including the Boks. Now, we'll start with the Boks, and we haven't had a show since last weekend. So, chaps, let's talk about how are we feeling a week on from last weekend. Have we settled down? Are we panicking? Chris, how are you feeling after Paris?
About the Springboks, particularly. Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? I mean, I know we lost. The scoreboard doesn't lie. But a few things right on our side. We should have possibly won. I hate saying that, like we should have won because it's a cop out and it happens. But I said this when I was watching my mates. I didn't feel. I said I was also talking to some island mates. They were kind of talking. We were talking about it, and I said like, "How comfortable are you?" Because I'm comfortable that if we had a rematch in the final, if both of us get there, I'm not overly concerned that we're in for a loss. I think it's going to be another tight game, as we just saw if we were to do it again. And rugby matches go. The rub of the green kind of can change, right? And I can't. I'm not saying that Ireland are going to come in there and beat us. I think we could easily beat Ireland in the World Cup final. So but that's caveat. Libbok at 10. I'm not deviating from that. Libbok should be at 10 and needs to stay at 10. And I'm still going to back him to kick. Sorry, I'm saying that's my thoughts. And then we're going to talk about Pollard. Pollard can come in and do what he does. But then our whole game is going to change, and there mustn't be tears when Pollard misses a kick and we lose. That's all I'm saying.
Right, Joe. We'll revisit the Pollard versus Libbok debate later because I think there's a lot to get there.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, but I still worry about France, guys. I know I'm hearing people saying it's an easy game. I've been calling us going out to the quarterfinals and France winning this whole thing. Not so sure about France winning the whole thing anymore because I think Ireland do have that big say. No one's talking about New Zealand. Grudge match coming up, potentially. Obviously, getting through your Forza Italy, but I'm not. I still feel that France is the big test. We can talk about how we're going to do after that. I think if we get through France, then we have a very good chance.
Yeah, well, I think it all hinges on that quarterfinal. But Dan, how are you feeling immediately after the game, and now a few days later?
Yeah, it always stings. It did feel similar to. I remember watching SA All Blacks 4 years ago in the group stage and being quite blown away just by the level of rugby that it was. Right, when you see two teams like performing at that on the biggest stage and going head to head, and I guess both times we've lost, both times been in a group stage. I'm interested to know. I mean, I'm sure we all wish we were be able to understand what the mentality going into it was, whether it was must win or whether it was like, let's use this as a test tube for whether we maybe meet them again in the final. Because I saw us do a lot of things differently. Obviously, like we were missing Malcolm Marks, which is the biggest one, but the way we rolled our subs I thought was completely bizarre compared to how we've used our bomb squad previously. And I think we can play a lot better. And bar Ireland's line out in the beginning, I don't think they can play that much better. So I'm not worried. I think they played incredibly well. I think they deserve to win. But that and, leaving 11 points on the pitch versus award number 1, I mean, how often are you going to win that game? And it's not frequent.
Yeah, I think the big thing, and that you mentioned, is that the level was so good, and so many teams. We've been Leon based this week, and so we've basically been with the All Blacks the entire week. And every single day in the press conferences, kids come up. They've said, Ireland versus South Africa, that game, best game of the World Cup so far. So it was funny because obviously New Zealand versus France was probably the second biggest game of the group stages in terms of your top 4 teams going at each other, and yet New Zealand were asked. Ireland versus South Africa, is that the standard? Was that the gold standard? Is that now, where teams need to be able to play out to win the World Cup? And the All Black staff and players have all said, yeah, they said, they also watched the game and went, right, that is it. That's do you want to win World Cups? Do you want to be competitive in this tournament? That's how you're going to have to be. So I think from that perspective, to have been 50% part of the game or the tournament so far, and for both, and no, I don't think anyone watches that game and has written off the box. I think in many ways, some people have even gone, well, actually, we were wondering if there were a bit of a flash in the pan. They're beating the All Blacks, but was there a once-off thing? But watching that Ireland game, they're going, no, actually, there's not a lot between these top sides, and that any team can win on the day, which is the exciting thing. There's a couple of conspiracy theories about us apparently having lost on purpose, which I think is a bit far. But yeah,
I think it would have rocked the Ireland boat a lot more had they lost.
Yes, because I think they've also got that mental thing, that whole they can't win a playoff game, they don't do well in World Cups and stuff like that. The big thing we've done is we've lost a game in the group stages and gone to win the World Cup before.
Maybe it's a bad habit, but we're so comfortable with losing, before like games, and we're happy to know that it's towards it, like the greater good. Right, like towards brainstorming, towards channeling whatever our lessons will be learned towards, the biggest game and the game, which is obviously going to be coming up.
Yeah, but also, guys, you talked about that second half and how we looked. But I think missing Marks proved how much we miss that guy when he comes on. I think it has disrupted us, and that's also why it does make me worried against France, because he is that good. He is our DuPont equivalent almost, and it was shown.
And I think also, to be fair, I think also, a lot of people were starting to write off France because of DuPont. Now the fact that he's back, was going, oh, actually, hang on, like France will actually still be okay. And it's always interesting in a 15-man, 23-man game, really, that one player can make that much of a difference. But there are certain players who are just that good,
Yeah.
And I do think that
even though DuPont is integral, they've still got very good players. The home factor, we can't just knock off the home factor. And I know we haven't gone, but Springboks, yes, we seem to be building nicely, getting some nice momentum, but our two biggest tests of the year, firstly, the draw. I've said this all the time, right, Stevie? The draw, the teams we have to get through to get to that final to win this thing. We've gone through Ireland, now we're in France. World Cup semi is a gimme? Yeah, right. Ask New Zealand a few times, and then the final. And South Africa, let's face it, boys, go back the last 4 years. We don't put 3 big tests in a row. We never, ever do. And we're going to need to do this now. Let's face Tonga as a victor. We have to win it. I'm sure we will. But then we got to go again back to back. And we're not playing the likes of Fiji's and Japan's along the way. We're playing 3 massive top-tier nations probably.
Well, I mean, we're playing. It's at the end of the day, the things are going to happen, and we're going to end up playing Italy in the quarters. So
it's not going to happen, Stevie. Stevie, I'm going to log off, son. I'm logging off. I'm not hearing
it. Italy are about to go back to back. New Zealand and France top that group. We're going to play France and. No, what? Just. But yeah, no, genuinely, that is the one thing I think a lot of people have been saying is that if the Boks go back to back and they win this World Cup, there can be zero doubt about whether or not they're the best team.
But my point is, Stevie, our 2 biggest tests of the year was New Zealand away, the Ireland in the World Cup pool. Like, come on, we need to put these big games. We need to put these teams away.
Chris, our biggest test of the year is on the 28th of October in the World Cup final.
All right. Okay, we can talk then. We can talk then. That's fine.
Yeah, no, you make a valid point. I think as I said, I'm not really worried about last weekend. The New Zealand game does, to a certain degree, sort of sit in the back going, we do have it in ourselves to sometimes not rock up. I think the biggest thing...
Sorry, Karen. No. So just to make a point again about this, and also the end of when we played France away, same margins, it just seems these big teams and the big cauldron under big pressure, it still feels we're like 3%. Getting over the line, and if we have to do it now, we've got to do it. France, is England on our side of the draw? I think it's not Wales. I think it's England, Fiji. Maybe we'll play Fiji again. Well, there we go. The draw's favored us. The draw's favored us.
I don't know if we want to play Fiji.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, imagine Fiji in a World Cup semi-final. It's put it this way: if you want to be the most hated side in the world and go and be that one to knock Fiji out of a World Cup final.
I mean, we did it against Japan in 2019, hey?
Yeah, no, we weren't popular after that.
Not popular.
But unluck, folks. Unluck. At the end of the day, there can only be one champion. It's us, and we're all in on that.
No, we do have a great chance, Stevie. I'm just saying I know we get excited. Everyone's excited, and this is probably the best team we've probably taken to a World Cup, but the hardest draw. And I'm just saying the Boks don't often go against top teams. I would love to see it. I think it's harder without Marks, but let's do it. Let's see what the boys have got.
Okay, so, first things first, we've got to get past Tonga. And a bonus point win will get us into the quarterfinals because, and this is what everybody keeps forgetting, there's points difference is not a thing. It's head-to-head. So we beat Tonga on Sunday. It means that we will go up, with the bonus point, it means we go up to 15 points. We have beaten Scotland, which means that Scotland, who can only get a maximum of 15 points, cannot go ahead of us at the moment. I'll actually share. I'll try to see if I can share my screen and see and sort of talk people through it. I will share. In fact, Bear with me, people. In fact, I'm being stupid. I've actually got a second screen. My Airbnb over here has actually got a second screen, which I've been making use of. So that's actually going to come to clutch over here. So I'll bring up the pools in just a second, and we can have a look at exactly what the ramifications are this weekend. Because I think some people have sort of forgotten or don't quite realize what the stakes actually are.
Yeah, I'm super interested to see what lineups the Irish put out for that Scotland game. I think that's
they have to go full strength, no?
And they've gone. That means they've gone full strength for every single pool game, pretty much.
Yeah. So this is so. I'm hoping people can sort of see this. So this is our pool.
To win.
So at the moment, Ireland sitting on 14 points. South Africa on 10 points. Scotland on 5 points. Tonga and Romania are currently pointless. So South Africa this weekend go and win with a bonus point. We will move up to 15. I think it's 15 points there. Just going to actually bring up the whole. I'm actually going to talk people through the World Cup rules, and we'll go through them all, and so that everyone's on the same page. Because a lot of people have been, talked about how points difference a thing and stuff like that, and it's not. So here's the match point system. I hope everybody is watching, is listening. Win is 4 points. A draw is 2 points. A loss is 0 points. 4 or more tries is 1 point. A loss by 7 points or less is 1 point. So we are sitting on 10 points. We didn't get a 4 tries against Scotland, so that wasn't a 4-try bonus point, but we did get a bonus point for coming within 7 of Ireland, which is how we are on 10. So we win this weekend with a bonus point. We go up to 15 points. If Ireland beat Scotland, they top the group because they can go to 18 points regardless of what happens with their bonus point. So Scotland could go up to a max of 15 points, assuming that they beat Romania by 4 tries this weekend, or score 4 tries in the effort. So and they go up to 10 points, and then they have to then beat Ireland and prevent Ireland from getting a bonus point to then go through. So if we win the bonus point, we're through this Sunday. That's the main thing that I think people just need to focus on. It's got nothing to do with points difference. It's all on head-to-head, because if you go to the rules over here, this is the rankings at the completion of the pool phase. If the completion of the pool phase, 2 or more teams are level on match points, then the following criteria shall be used in the following order until one of the teams can be determined as the higher ranked. The winner of the match in which the 2 tied teams have played each other shall be the higher ranked. The team which has the best difference between points scored for and points scored against in all its pool matches shall be ranked higher. So points difference will only be a thing if, for example, the team, if there's a draw. So if we had drawn to Scotland and we end up with the same amount of points and they can't go that way, then they will look at points difference from the pool stage. But it's head to head.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So that's a moot point already. So we win with 5 points this weekend. We go through, because the only way that Scotland can go through is if they actually then knock out Ireland. So that's quite nice for us this weekend, because we going into this weekend, and if we then go and get our bonus point win, for example, we're through, and we don't actually have to worry about the next weekend. We are not we're not playing next weekend. We've got the weekend off, and ironically, then Ireland, as I said, they have to go full strength for next weekend, because Scotland can knock them out. So Esm says, Steve, why are people saying Ireland can throw the game in order for the box to get knocked out if all teams end on 15? So that circumstance, so that the points difference would come into is if all 3 teams, that is the only one way. If all 3 teams finishes on 15 points, so Ireland get a losing bonus point, Scotland get a winning bonus point, and then we all finish on 15. Then points difference can become a factor. But now we're looking at some pretty big scenarios. So for that to happen, it would mean that Scotland will have to score 4 tries or more against Ireland. But Ireland would either have to score 4 tries as well, or else score 4 tries, or else come within 7 points, despite Scotland scoring 4 tries. So some wild math that has to happen, because then if Ireland get a losing bonus point,
8 tries in the game. Ireland have to lose by
more than 7.
By more than 7.
Yeah, because otherwise they'll finish on 16 points. Scotland finish on 15 points, and then we'll knock them out by a head-to-head.
So first half, first team, 4 tries, and then just throw it.
Yeah, apparently that would be the case.
Guys, I think we Ireland and South Africa go through, right? I think that's happening,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it is mathematically possible for us to not qualify despite winning this weekend. Incredibly unlikely, though. As I said, there's a lot of different. It's a lot that would have to happen because, as I said, Ireland can't just throw the game because they'll have to get a point out of it, one way or another. Yeah. So as Dad says, it would have to be score 4 tries and then just.
That's what I meant by them playing that. I didn't mean have to win, but surely making sure they get over.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No. So I mean, Ireland basically need. They score 4 tries and one of them. And they lose within 7, for example, they go up 16 points. So let's say I saw on the Rugby Analyst channel if Scotland beat us on points different, Box get knocked out. No points difference. I've just read the rules there. So and this is the problem. A lot of people haven't actually read the rules. It's not points difference first. The first thing is head to head. So that's what I said. The first thing when it comes to the rankings is the winner of the match in which the 2 tie teams that played each other shall be the higher ranked. So points difference is only a factor if that can't determine it. So yes, as we just try to explain now, it could become into it, but there's a hell of a lot that has to happen for points difference to actually come into this. So bottom line is go and beat Tonga with about a couple of tries. At the moment, we're sitting with an 86 points difference. Yes, Scotland will probably run in quite a few tries against Romania, but they're currently sitting, 70 odd points behind us. So they'd have to make that up between Romania and Ireland if we were to have this very weird mathematical anomaly. So I think we should be pretty okay because, I mean, I'm looking at a 20-30 point win this weekend would be what I'm expecting from the box, really, which would put us at well over points if it's well over 100. So
did you say from the box?
From the box, yeah.
Not Libbok.
Libboks. So that is how it will work in terms of the pools and stuff like that. So yes, mathematically not confirmed that we get into the quarterfinals on Sunday, but all but really. But then that Ireland versus Scotland game basically becomes a quarterfinal before a quarterfinal, a last 16 clash, I suppose, in terms of the football things. But let's talk about this weekend then, and let's talk about the team. We have gone with a very strange team. We do not have a single player in the team who played hooker for the club in this past year. We have got a number 8 and number 7. We have got somebody who's playing just his third ever game at professional level at 13. We have got a scrum off on the wing again. What else do we have? Which is a nice little throw around. You've got a 5-3 split, which is pretty weird from a block perspective, and Vincent Cox starting. And Vincent Cox starting, yeah. So there's a lot of strange things happening on Sunday, which don't usually happen. So if nothing else, Chris, you're missing a very strange block game, because there's some very strange rugby decisions at the same time, some very normal rugby decisions, which are I'm not trying to decide which one's more surprising.
Well, that's what we've been saying since I've been joining you, right? We've said this every week. The book team, we've almost been surprised every book team every week, barring that strong team against New Zealand and probably Ireland, right? The team, you're never quite sure what Sharks and Rusty were going to put out, so it's definitely not surprising. I'm not saying we should be worried about Tonga, but because when it comes down to this, I'm trusting the coaches that they know what they're doing, and I think our team has full of self-belief and ability. It is a bit, it does feel like strange, but I don't see it costing us. But it's going to be interesting. But of course, it's going to be interesting to see how Pollard goes. Of course, where we are at halftime. Are we grinding it out to halftime, or are we looking fluid, or not? I like that Moody's back. I still think he should be playing over Krill at this stage. I know people will disagree, but I just think he offers more.
So would you start Caden Moody at 13 in a quarterfinal against France?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think I think he's a better player than Krill. And I think he offers more with the D'Orlando. D'Orlando and Krill are too one-dimensional for me. They just get lined up and see you later. And it's Libbok that finds our outside backs. And so we don't have Libbok. Well, there we are. We'll see what happens. I'd rather have Moody there, but he's not going to pick Moody now, I think, right? Unless there's an injury to Kriel. So, yeah, but that's just my thoughts. I don't see Vermeulen at 7. I think, didn't Vermeulen play 7?
So when I originally did my team release video, I said I can't remember him having done that. Apparently, it's his 3rd time he's played for the Boks in a number 7 jersey. The last time was 2018.
Yeah,
so he has done it before, but
yes, I remember him playing there for Cheetahs and Province. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, domestically he has before, but for the Boks he's only done it twice.
Yeah, so not too worried about that one. Hookers, well, we'll see. And Grant Williams, I love Grant Williams. I think he's a lekker little player. So interested to probably have a little bit of fun on the wing.
I mean, everyone was, questioning Canon Moody at 13 because, people were saying, I played Bull and Landbo, but now he's coming up against, Rico Ioane. Apparently he was also a wing at school. So, I mean, that's our decision-making criteria now at the Boks. If they played it at school, it's good enough for us,
So basically, we probably will be playing Tabaf Flamen at 10 because he played there back in the day. That stat that every single commentator brings out every single time that the big lock makes an offload is, he actually played at 10 at school. So we would actually do it. We would sit there and say, right. But it's an interesting concept. I think. Look. I mean, I was at the game against Romania, and Grant Williams looked very comfortable. Again, it's Romania, so
it was Romania. Yeah.
The big thing is that. And some people are saying this Tonga game, it's Tonga. And look, to be fair, I don't think it's the same Tonga of old. I think Tonga back in the day, Samoa back in the day, they're still very big teams. I mean, the Tongan captain, I think, is 150 kgs. So they're not small. But I think that they're better rugby players these days, and they don't necessarily just pick the size. They're actually picking players who've got a bit of a better skill set, and they're better rugby players. So whilst they're not, I mean, it'll be stupid to say it's not going to be a physical contest. I don't think it's, the same as it used to be about 20 years ago, where it wasn't as professional and you just had these massive Tongan guys who would just come out, and it was basically injury central. And a lot of people are saying that, a lot about this weekend is about protecting players, So some people are saying that Grant Williams is basically, been put there to make sure that Cheslin Colby and Currie don't get injured. And I think that's a bit extreme because I think, look, to a certain degree, obviously they are going to raise players, and regardless of whether you're playing Tonga or not, the risk of injury is there. But I don't think that it's the same sort of Tonga situation that we might have had 12 years ago, where it was just, the injuries were such a big concern because they weren't necessarily the best rugby playing team, but they had these big boys that were putting in some big hits. I think these days, a lot of the Pacific Island teams are much better rugby teams. They've got far better players, and they've got more professional players who are a bit fitter, a bit faster around the park. And I think that's why Fiji, for example, are starting to compete as well. Tonga starting to play better rugby. They're no longer just this brute force team. They've actually got players with skill sets a bit smaller, but a bit better on a rugby sense. So, Dan, do you think we're protecting anybody, and do we need to protect players?
No, I don't think physically. I guess if there's a question mark on Kane and Moody, maybe it would be on defense at the wing. We haven't really seen that because we didn't see it against Romania. But I think otherwise the only way we would be protecting players is actually match fitness. I think the one maybe surprise for me was Sia starting. I thought they might give him a rest, given that he's pretty much since Wales, since he came back from injury, has been playing nonstop. With that said, I think he'll probably go off just after half time, and he did only play, I think, 55 minutes in the last game.
Yeah, that is the thing. They have been bringing him off, which they often do. He very rarely plays a full 80, but even on the World Cup, you can see they've been managing his minutes. For
sure. And I think having what we definitely, I think we missed a captain in. Usually we have Dwayne Vermeulen for 80 when he's off, right? I do think we missed that figure without him. Like, without being disrespectful to Bongi, he hasn't played in the captain's role nearly as much as either of them. And I think that, so I don't think we're hiding any players. I think if anything, it'll just be the legs that we're trying to save. But for the most part, we're trying to give, this team is picked based off of who's most likely to have to come into knockout games come in the future. It's why we've picked Pollard starting. It's why, Dion Ferree starting and Malcolm Starr is going to come off the bench for him. It's why we're giving, even Etzebeth some legs after his injury. Sia, Dwayne. We're not sure if Dwayne's going to play. So Makazole Mapimpi might be coming in, Andre Estes, and these are all people that are just like our next slot-ins, right, in perhaps vulnerable positions. So I think that's a large portion of how this team was picked. It doesn't make complete sense when you read it out loud, but given the context, I think it does.
It is very weird that we're talking about the game before quarterfinals and we're still experimenting. We're still finding out information on players. Can Malcolm start and do a job at hooker? I mean, you traditionally never, even your tier 2 teams probably haven't, been like, are sitting there going, well, can the flank play at hooker? And if not, should we try him in the World Cup? Like it's a bizarre, it's a bizarre thing that the current world champions, one of the best teams in the world, are in a World Cup and experimenting and still trying to move players. I mean, it's some people are saying it's great innovation. Some people are saying it's silly. And at the end of the day, I suppose the proof is in the pudding. We go on to win the World Cup and this becomes a masterclass, but you lose the World Cup and how quickly do people sit there saying, well, what do you expect? You're playing a scrum off on the wing, a flank at hooker, and you're picking a number 10 that's got a bad goal kicking record in international cert. So there's a lot of room for error, but high risk, high reward, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think I said last week, I still thought that it still might cost us a game. He's got a guy at a position that does something daft and costs, but I'm still worried about it. That guy, no, bang on the block. I mean, I don't want to drop the block, but it could still be the kicking. And I don't want to do a ref bash, but that ball is coming out. We score a ref decision. And I'm not blaming the ref for the loss, but I still think these margins. I think the team is good enough that these guys can probably do the jobs required. But I just hope it's not going to come back and bite us.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we've seen anyone make that mistake yet. And it could still be out there. And it just takes that one small mistake. But I don't think we've yet to... I mean, for example, Deon Free had one skew throw, which I thought was incredibly harsh. So it would have been quick to sit there and say, oh, you see, he's not a hook. He hasn't been playing hooker, so he got a skew thrown. But I don't think we've yet to see the players who are playing out of position really struggle to a degree with and saying, that's why. Obviously, the goal kicking thing continues to be a problem, but that's not necessarily an easy fix. Unfortunately, we're not with the way our team is like. I mean, I was at the All Black Stadium run today, and they had Richie Mwanga had a kicking tee, Bowden Barrett had a kicking tee, Damien McKenzie had a kicking tee. Geordie Barrett didn't miss a kick. I mean, he just walked from one side of the field to the other side of the field, back and forward, and he didn't miss a beat. Yeah. He's back in a big way. Aaron Smith grabs a kicking tee and was having, I think it was Antonina Brown was having a couple of kicks of goal. But they've got 4 goal kickers in the likes of the 2 Barretts, your McKenzie, your Richie Mwanga, who've all got pretty good records. I mean, when Bowden Barrett would be your
85% kickers.
Yeah. So they're blessed in that regard. We just don't have that.
But do you guys know why Damien Pidipsa was kicking at goals last year, right? I'm sure. Why is he behind?
End of year tour, yeah.
Yeah, why is he behind even Faf and Libbok? I know Libbok's standing up and wanting to take. Yeah, I know. But another thing for me is if I was Libbok, I wouldn't be walking off of any practice field, even if it took me 5 hours until I was at 80% kicking. I don't know why he just practices until his bloody foot falls off. Why is he missing?
Maybe he is.
I don't understand it.
I mean, he could be practicing that way, right? We don't know. It could be just on the stage all of a sudden that's not happening.
Aren't you spying? Aren't you doing team spies? You're the local spy.
That's my problem. I'm chasing. We've been chasing the cool matches. We're not even on the ground watching the box. We've been watching other people.
I think we also have partially. You know what I found very bizarre? All of a sudden, previously. We think of long distance kickers, Francois Steyn, Morné Steyn. Both could just bomb it at like an 80%, right? From 50 meters easily. And now all of a sudden we're picking not our first string kicker. Yes, Faf can kick it far, but he's not our first string kicker. So he's already at like a 65%, 70% conversion rate. And we're giving him 50 plus meter kicks. Like you're setting him up for disaster, And it felt like our management was trying to prove a point that we can still beat teams by out kicking you, when it was a lot of the decisions were much more obvious to go and maul it. I think we only mauled 3 times the entire match. So I felt like we were trying to send a message and go for like weird kicks. I mean, even think back to that Scotland kick that Money took. there was no ways he was getting there. He missed it by, he was 10 meters shy, and that's not Money's fault. That was the decision made upon him. I think the decisions around our kicking, it's like we're refusing to admit that it's a potential weakness of us, and people was just, it's not Money's not the scapegoat. We just happen to not have Rich Moanga, Geordie Barrett, Bowden Barrett, Damien McKenzie, who are all 85+% kickers. We just don't have that, and that's not Money's fault. It doesn't have to be the foul. It's just you assume that's his fault, right? So I just think we need to get out of this, like, it's like almost we're not scared to break, like, we wanting to stay with the Bok mentality, which is, beat them physically, get 3 points, score, and then score 1 or 2 loose tries again, instead of like, okay, maybe we need to actually score 3 tries now, even against Ireland,
Yeah, but was it just me? I found Faf's kick took for ages to get there. I was like, come on, like, it was like a slow death.
It wasn't far, that first.
And then it just
literally hit the crossbar.
Slid down the ball. I was like, we needed you to step up, and I wasn't backing him at 50 meters. I didn't feel that he was.
The second one that he had the distance, but things just slid down to the right. But they weren't actually far away to give him his due. And it's amazing how if he does get those two, everyone sits up and says, "Oh shit."
But now the whole conversation is about 11 points missed, right?
Yeah.
When, as you're saying, they were like, objectively, they're not bad kicks. But now the whole conversation is about the bad kicking, because we remember that he missed it and he could have hit it.
That's why, I mean, I know this has come to say, oh, kicking. Everyone's like, they're kicking. But the 3 games, when it comes to 3 games, yes, it might come down to kick. I'm not going to write that off for sure.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. Like, Marnie got 5 or 6 out of 6, brilliant, all kicked from everywhere at Twickenham. And he used to say he just doesn't bring that form in. Like, I back him. He obviously backed himself. That's what Shark said. You're stepping up with that team. You wanted to kick them. And that's what I would like to see, if my guy backed himself like that, because he can kick them. It's just so odd how you can kick them and you can't kick them.
And this is the thing, he's not a bad goal kicker. This is what John Dobson was saying as well. He said the biggest thing is, he said he is, but Dobson basically, he actually gave a really good interview too. I think it was Off the Ball, and he was saying that he would really like to see them try and build an innings. So you get that penalty in the first 5 minutes, and it's in front of goals. Take the 3 points, even if you're in your 22.
Yeah.
You get that penalty 5 or 6 meters to the right, but in a pretty good position. Take the 3 points. Let him start nailing a few, because then all of a sudden you start nailing a few. Then the one that is on the touchline after a try, or the one that is 45 meters out. He's sitting there saying, "Well, I'm sitting at 4 from 4 here. I'll take it on." Because I think that he is a player of confidence. There are certain players who are like that.
You know what it was? If you think of all the tests he's played, this was by far his biggest game, right? And he must have had nerves. You could see that's why.
There's no doubt about it. We forget how young he is in his Test career. I mean,
but if you go look back now, I was watching with the team. He was rushing it. It must have got to him, and I'm hoping that this is the one out of his system. If they continue to start him, I'm sure he's going to be in the mix of the 23 for the rest of the cup. I can't see that not happening. But I'm hoping. I want to move to our betting segment there, because we're already about 15 minutes there. I'm going to move to the betting segment, and when we come back, I want to have the Pollard versus the Buck debate. We'll do that for the last 10 minutes. If everybody's in the comments, that's going to come up. Put them in the comments now. But before then, Chris, chat to us. Well, we're going on nicely with our leans the other week. We out of 10 out of 11 punt predictions in the last 4 weeks. So going very nicely. We had Ireland in the first half cap, which came in. They were leading half time. And Samoa, another squeaky bum one. But Argentina won by 13. So our half a point tax took us home again. So we've cruised up to a nice 20 win and 10 loss record, plus 23.2 units on the season, crawling back up to the 80% return on investment. So pretty happy with that. The song may continue. I had a look today, again, with the markets and odds available from Boyles. You would have noticed I've used the second half high scoring a few times, because I've used it in my personal bet and it's worked. So I'm going to stick to it. And I'm going to, instead of using singles, I'm going to take a little bit of a higher value or higher odds play and combine 2 of them to get a 2-1 or 3.0 decimal odds with this double. And I like the Fiji and the Argentina game to be second half. I think Fiji and Georgia can be actually quite tight, and Fiji against second halves are generally statistically our highest scoring most of the time because they open up. They're a team that do open up, even though you would say this team hasn't, but Fiji's games have been going second half high scoring anyway this World Cup. And Argentina vs Chile, I see the same. I think you'll see a high pumped up Chile first half performance and they'll fade away in the second half and the tries will come. So I quite like that if you're going to pick out 2 second high scoring games, these 2 are the ones that stuck out for me. So let's combine them. We've got a nice profit. Let's use some of our profit. We'll go up a juicy 7 units there if we 5 units if we go up. So let's build, and if we get this one comes in, it'll be a very nice big juicy win for the rest of the season. So yeah, if you're following, good luck.
Yeah, well, I want to go put my money there, which I actually haven't been able to do because I've been so busy. So I'm going to get back into it this weekend. So as always, a big shout out to BoyleSports, who are the show sponsor for tonight, and will be helping us power our entire Rugby World Cup campaign, including our watch along, which starts the watch along is actually live. The game though, Japan versus Samoa, which should be quite a cool one, starts in just over an hour's time, and obviously will be live over the weekend. You've got Italy versus New Zealand tomorrow night. Lots of games on Saturday and Sunday. So big shout out to BoyleSports as well as BITDEFENDER who are powering our stream. But yeah, this show is brought to you by BoyleSports, and if you haven't already, make sure you go and get yourself a BoyleSports account. That is all it looks like over on the website. That's all the branding stuff that you're looking for. So yeah, go get yourself a 1,000 Rand welcome bonus up to 100% of your first deposit match, for example, and plenty of other bonuses and bet brews over the weekend, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. Right, so Chris, thank you very much. Hopefully that'll all come and land this weekend, and we can talk about
it'll be a nice one.
Weekend. But let's turn our attention to the big debate, and we're gonna have to try and actually compound this into 10 minutes because I'm very interested to see what some of the comments have to say. Andre Pollard is back this weekend, and the coaching staff have been very quick to say we can't expect a lot from him. He's played 50 minutes of rugby since May, coming back from injury. Yes, he's been there, he's done that, but we can't expect too much. Dan, what can we expect from him, and what does he have to do this weekend for you to then back him in the quarterfinals? Should we make it?
I think the thing I'm most excited about is actually just seeing Andre Pollard in a Springbok jersey. Right? Let's just take a moment to actually enjoy seeing one of our best players in the last 10 years actually don the jersey again. It's going to be exciting to see that. Obviously he brings something completely different to money, very direct. It'll be interesting to see, having just come back from injury, is he going to still stick with that? Is he going to try and adapt to like a different Bok system that's been come out? I don't know. I see him and Money, at least for the quarterfinals, both being in the 23. I don't know which way around it's going to be. I don't know what has to happen unless, to be honest, unless Money has like an incredible mishap, I still see Money starting the quarterfinal. Obviously, assuming we get through. I still see Money starting the quarterfinal, but I don't see Pollard missing out on a 23 for the rest of the World Cup. So whether that's starting or not,
is that the end of the 6-2 split then?
Well, Pollard can play 12, and it's frustrating now because Damien's he had a great game against Ireland. I think, no more 7 split. I didn't have confidence in it last week. I think 6-2 is impactful enough when used correctly. Maybe it is the end of the 6-2, but I think we can still make a 6-2 happen with Andre on the bench. But I think unless there's another Money mishap, I think Andre is he's going to be around, and I think Money's also going to be around, bar something crazy going on. But I'm excited to see him.
Right, Chris, and you think it doesn't matter what Pollard does on Sunday. If you want to win the World Cup, Libbok has to start.
Yes, because I know that it's obvious there's a different Bok team out there with Libbok playing at 10. Just go watch him. His head's up. He's always looking for the options. He's finding those guys. He brings Williams into the game like he does for Stormers. He brings Orange. He's a completely different player. And the Boks are creating more of the stats, I think, are there. The offloads, creating more opportunities. Just if Pollard was fit, it would be so interesting, right? Like if he was actually coming in, he's played rugby, it's a whole different story. But the fact that the guy's played 3 games this year, I don't know. I mean, he was playing Premiership rugby. Well, the last couple of months, right? I feel a lot more comfortable if Pollard was rearing to go. I don't not back that he can come in and probably be good enough to come in and do it. I'm just worried that the Boks have been playing all this time with Libbok now and this way. Like, my thing is, I don't know what the Boks are with Pollard. Yes, you play in Tonga. Is that going to be the judge? Because barring Libbok gets his kicks, we beat Ireland. You know, we've created so many we didn't take opportunities we would take. I think we were more war. So why would you not keep Libbok? Like, we're good enough with Libbok to go all the way. So I think it's nice to have, I think it's nice having Pollard around because, you know, Libbok's got to stay upright. He's got to stay fit, you know. And if he'll be there. So I think let's see how Pollard gets. I don't want to judge. He's done such great service. He has. I just enjoy and I prefer the way the Boks have been playing, but I can be saying that's just my opinion because I want us to win as well, right? And that rugby style that we traditionally really good at has got us over the line. But I just think that's against smaller packs, like I said, Japan and the packs that we can dominate, and we dominated England. I think with giving us more options in the backline, it's better for Springbok rugby. I think it gives us a better chance in this World Cup. But again, personal opinion. I hope Pollard goes well. I hope he brings a headache. He's clearly has always been part of the picture. You know, bringing him back as we are. It's not like he's maybe not as important. Okay, he's out the squad. He hasn't made the World Cup shame. He is that important. So let's see how he goes. And I think both him and Pollard will be in the 23 if we get to the quarterfinal, and I'll be interested to see what route Jocks and Rassie take.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting concept because, I mean, somebody who would actually probably almost become expendable with it if we were to go Pollard on the bench would be Billy LaRue, who 2 months ago I couldn't see a 23 without him.
Yeah.
But I think that's what Martin Libbok has done, is that he's brought in someone who's at first receiver who can bring in the rest of the back line. Some people are saying that they reckon Billy LaRue plays. You know, last weekend maybe he gets Kurt Lawrence and Jason Colby more involved, and all of a sudden that maybe they could be scoring tries and stuff. So again, what we want to see a headache, don't we? We want to see a team selection that we sit there going, would like to have seen him, but at the same time can't argue with that. You know, you want to be in a situation where you can debate players who are playing very well, and you're leaving somebody out. You're trying to choose the better of the two good players, as opposed to choosing the less of the two evils, or the best of the bad bunch. Yeah, it is a nice problem to have.
Well, maybe
it's an interesting problem to have because we've not really been here recently.
Yeah, because we were talking a few months ago, right? The book wasn't in the picture as the book played. It wasn't supposed to be this way a year ago, right? So yeah, we are with the book playing this type of brand of rugby that's introduced something that's different to books and has been winning. I think, like I said, depends on what dominance we can get in the forwards and that physical game, that typical book game. I think what I'm kind of also saying is if we don't, we will get less opportunities probably to score tries, which means obviously Pollard has to be banging this, like he did, like how we've won previous. But the bang this kicks board, build that scoreboard pressure. I'm just having Pollard split enough that we can come in, that we get those opportunities, because that game plan, let's face it, boys, is ref orientated as well. We need penalties to go our way as well. We ran into Wayne Barnes last day against France, and look what happened. That's what I'm worried about. It just feels like a completely different route we need to take. I wish it was one, so we could just focus on that and hope we executed it. But it's just going to be it's going to look different.
We could see we could see two types of Springboks, really attacking the goal line and trying to get it, use our wider channels and bringing in our wings and our like quite expansive back three. into it for 50 minutes, and then you might see a Libbok or Pollard swap around the 50-55, and then it's all about the bomb squad and mauling and getting points, right? That's when we're winning the most penalties in the last 40% of the game. That's when we expect to win most of our penalties. That's when we want to utilize our forward pack the most. And what's most important at that point is us converting those mauls, and when we get penalties, converting kicks.
I see people say I'm not blaming the boring game plan. It's like are we gonna cry like 99 when we bring Skinscat in when he hasn't played and we lose? Like if Pollard's not up to it, that's what I'm worried about. He just might not be. I'm going to back him, but he might have a really bad game because you brought him in because the Bok can't kick, and then he has a shocker, and then we all.
To be fair, but that's what the Springboks coaches have been saying. They're basically saying they said, "Listen, this guy's coming back from injury. Like we know what he can do.
Well, that's my point.
But we've got no idea what he will do."
Correct. Yeah.
So I mean, Pollard comes in on Sunday, doesn't miss a beat, and he sits there and he's back. Then we go to
that's the thing. That's what I actually wanted to ask. What if he has a blinder, right? What if he gets through 60?
Yeah.
We
had these question marks about Sia Khaleesi. Everybody would, because he'd done it before. People were sitting there saying, "Well, we back it to be okay." But I mean, he came into that using in the Wales game, during those games, and then we sat there going, "This guy hasn't played rugby in sort of 6 to 7 months." And everybody was sitting there saying, "Is he going to be fit? Is he going to look good?" And he started that Wales game like a house on fire, and you were like, "Okay, cool, so he's back."
Yeah.
So it can happen, but at the same time, some players have take a while to get back going when they come back from injury.
I think the only way that Pollard secures a starting place in a quarterfinal is if he hits a no-look cross kick to the wing. Or that
on his weaker foot.
On his weaker foot. Yeah. Yeah, I think
that's more dangerous, like inside pass and stuff as well.
Yeah, he's going to be throwing the wildest passes. We're never going to see a Pollard like this again. And then we're going to sit there thinking, is this the evolution of Pollard? And then he's going to start missing tackles and be like, okay, so we sacrificed the defensively solid Pollard for the flair. Yeah. Speaking of BoyleSports, put down a bet for 2 intercept tries for Tonga this weekend.
There's a miracle, like 50-meter, like throw down there. He's going to be like doing like through the legs shit and stuff. He's going to be bringing out all the bags of tricks.
I don't know. I'm also just a quick one. Just on that, I was about to mention the access, and there's of 10, 12, 13, and this is where I'm going to say this is where if we're not having Moody, which we should. This is I think Arm also kind of. I think Billy and Arm are quite imperative. Well, we've played really well when they've been there, when Pollard's been the anchor at 10, right? And I think still the way they, Billy conducts that backline and Arm is to Deolande.
That'll be an interesting.
I don't like the Creel Deolande. I don't think they're doing it's solid, but I worry if it's Pollard, Deolande, and Creel. I just don't know how much we're going to, unless we completely dominating in the head. I'm worried how much opportunities we're going to get, because guys, just remember we've had that. Boks were not a very good attacking team. You've got to face it, guys. We don't create a lot of opportunities. And
what about Pollard, Deolande, Kanan?
There we go. I would if you're going to have a Lendi, not Orange.
Well, the thing that everyone's asking is actually, what about a Libbok, Pollard, Creel access, for example, or but basically Pollard inside center.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying I'm saying I'm not even saying Arm because he's out, and I'm saying like that type of player.
Yeah, but but what about Libbok and Pollard on the same field at the same time?
No, Pollard must have been not a 12. No, I'm not entertaining that.
That's a quick one because like no, we will not be doing that.
Yeah, I think if you're under Estes and Damien Deolande watching that happen, you've got a tear in your eye.
Imagine Andre Estes. He can probably sit there and go, shit, okay, Damien Deolande did win a World Cup. He is probably one of the best inside centers in the world. Okay, this sucks. And then Pollard's just like, okay, cool, dude, I'm just here for the vibes. Like, I'm just going to go quickly play ahead of you.
But my thing is, Deolande was great in the first half, right? But I might have been, maybe it's my eyes, but I thought he got a little bit, but not so good in the second half. He was a bit tired. I don't know if that was a time to replace him, but he was bashing up, but Sexton got up, Iden got up. It's all, I know when you go forward ball, but this is what I'm saying. there's a little bit extra somewhere in that back. I'm not saying it's Delendi's fault, but that's why for me, Libbok and Moody, at least one of Libbok and Moody need to be in that back line for me.
Okay,
just to give it that balance.
So basically what I'm hearing from this show is that this is going to be the back line for the quarterfinal. It's Grant Williams at 9, Faf at 10. Sorry, Jaden Hendrickson at 9, Faf at 10. Mapimpi and Grant Williams, the 2 wings. Inside center, Pollard. Outside center, Kane and Moody with Willemse at fullback.
Yeah, perfect.
Weird.
Willemse is too predictable.
I still think
just Jesse Krill at fullback.
I still think Damien Willemse is our best 12 anyway. If he was 12, whoever's at 10, Willemse should be 12. I mean, you can still have, I think he offers far more.
Damien Willemse fan at 12, and I'm chuffed because Galan's back for the Stormers, so we're going to see Willemse this season.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're going to come last in the URC because the Lions are winning it this year, but it'll be fun to watch. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Before we go, I just want some score predictions for you guys. What do we reckon?
No, Steve, you haven't talked Italy, New Zealand, man. I was looking forward to that one.
Okay, so yeah, let's do a quick talk about. Okay, so Italy versus New Zealand tomorrow night. Italy are winning. So, Chris, what is it going to do to the New Zealand camp?
No, mate. Italy, same. They can't even win a lottery with the winning ticket. They had the winning ticket, bro. I don't know what's
Michelle Lamora said tomorrow's game is like dessert, and they're looking for the cherry on top of the cake, dude. He's locked in.
No, well. I do not see Italy winning one, but they might give them a game, but I don't see that's not happening. They might, maybe France. No. Italy don't win these tests. They lose them by 30.
Who do you think they're more likely to beat, the All Blacks or France?
None. France probably. No. France. I think France and I were just too focused. It's not like a random dead rubber Six Nations game. It's like the only time that Italy kind of have a chance to win a test. This is more meaningful. But then again, France they play their second. It depends what team France play out, because I think France combinations are quite. We've seen that when they put out different combinations, they're not nearly as fluid. That's why DuPont is very, very key. So it will be very interesting to see actually what teams they end up putting out there on that last game. I think they might. You know what? I think Italy will give them a really good game in that last game. But I think All Blacks are going to be too much for them.
Okay, so Dan, if the All Blacks are too much, what is a good result for Italy tomorrow? You know, what would be a scoreline where you can sit there and say, well, actually, Italy gave them a real good go?
I think they're happy to be within 15. I think if they get, it's like call it a double losing bonus point psychologically.
Yeah. If you two quick tries and you could have won, or two.
Particularly because the All Blacks have named such a strong squad.
Yeah, Rizal and Jordan Barrett back are key. If it was still Anton Leonard and Fafan around there and 3 Lucy's, look, I just think it's just
Mac on the bench as well.
Yeah, but so they played last night. I watched that game. It did run them quite close for 60 minutes, but then for me, it's just one of those. When the cream rises to the top, when they want to put the foot on their burners, they go. I mean, yes, we could call it a Fozzie team and it's New Zealand, but I think an All Black this team when at full going at almost 100% is going to not. He's not stopping him. That's no way.
Right, a word on Sam Whitelock, who's set to become the most capped All Black ever. I
don't like that. King McCall. Nah, I like Whitelock, but Richie's the man. He deserves. He can't deserve it. But it's well done to Whitelock. Yeah, well done to him. It just feels like McCall just deserved to have that record, right?
Yeah,
a bit of a silent assassin, isn't it? I mean, you think of players who've played for such a long time and the all-time greats. Sam Whitelock, and I mean, in many ways, I think some people always look. Brady Retallick was a former World Player of the Year, so I think it was not that I don't think Sam Whitelock ever played in his shadow. But I think, how often do you put Sam Whitelock into one of the greatest players ever debate? And yet, 100 next weekend, if he plays, 150 caps.
Yeah, and also the Crusaders. He's massive for the Crusaders at Super Rugby. Yeah. When he's not playing, they're a different team. He's like we said, some players are like 10 points a team, like Tupou to Australia and the Reds, DuPont to France. Whitelock is 10 points to the Crusaders in Super Rugby. So we have to give him that credit. Yeah. A different ball game when he's playing. And for New Zealand, I mean, that he's look, he's really crept up. Crazy.
Yeah, and only does it speak to the class of Retallick and Whitelock, or the lack of younger talent that, you know, all these years later was? I mean, look, Whitelock's had to be relegated onto the bench because Scott Barrett has been able to bench somebody for the first time in a while. But I mean, Retallick and Whitelock have been the mainstay since 2011, basically.
No, it's definitely not a lack of talent. You've never thought, you know, that's where they're lacking in a New Zealand side, right? Is 4 and 5. We've never had that conversation since 2011, essentially, when they've been on the scene. I think they've been keeping a lot of talent out, and being a lock in the last 10 years in New Zealand must have been tough.
Yeah, no, it's not kind of been fun. It's like being a flanker for South Africa anytime.
But then in the twilight, I actually rack my brain. Who's the up and comers to replace them? I haven't actually really seen an outstander.
Stephen Luatua moved countries.
They talk about viewer. Is it Bayi? But he's not really.
Yeah, he's the next one. He's like 23 years old. So I suppose in theory,
yeah, I like him.
They've only brought 4 locks to the World Cup. Actually, it's those 3 and Tupou Vaa'i. But
that visit the forwards is what's the problem for New Zealand. Looks like potentially going forward.
Well, I've said for the last couple of years that front row is their biggest problem, and I think that Ethan de Cruz in the last year or two has been a huge factor in them trying to turn that around. They've also, for example, tomorrow they've gone back to Dan Coles and Cody Taylor. You know, Samasomi Takawa, who's was playing some really good rugby. They've moved away from him for such a big.
I don't understand that, because Takawa has been one of the best. I think positive when they've done well. I think of Ireland, even last against us, he was their main. He's that grunt. He's that player that they're lacking. That exact type of character.
I think they're lacking tight heads. I mean, I think Tua Lomax is.
We're saying that front row isn't. They're not. They look like they're not scared. Scared, but they feel soft. They don't.
I mean, when it was nice guys, and Crockett, the buggers, you sat there going, "Oh, here we go."
Like Carl Heyman, Oaks that were just that hard bastard. Like you couldn't,
so exposed for the trenches.
Yeah. And those guys aren't. They feel a bit softer, don't they? They have that underbelly there. But Takioko again, he's bloody strong. I like him. I would be with that pack. I would be having him start and be my main hooker.
Yeah, and then an interesting one as well. You talk about like they've got Tomati Williams, who is like one of the most shy guys I've ever seen at a press conference. He's an absolute giant of a man. But again, I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be incredibly talented. But you look at him, you look at a Fitch and Newell. And you just don't. You're not scared of them, really. You know, I don't think any team fear them. New Zealand have always been such a good set piece team, because we always talk about how good the backline is, but the backline's only good when you're going forward.
Yeah, I mean, with that said, who is our next generation of South African props that's going to scare other nations? Like that no one else.
Asanate and Slavakanya and all 145 kgs of him at the Lions. Watch my boy come through.
Well,
but that's we haven't seen anyone under the age of like 28 actually show face on the international stage. I'm really worried for that next World Cup. Who that what is that?
Well, I think the problem is we're such a golden generation of props right now. We're kind of like you think that Thomas Atoy is just not featured, for example. Carl Usari has never even played for the Boks, and I think that he could be one of the best in the world. You think of Wilco Low. He just doesn't feature, for example. So I think we're in such a golden generation of props right now. I think Oxenchair should. Stephen Kitsov and Oxenchair aren't particularly old. Trevor is going to move on. Frans Maher will probably move on and stuff like that. But it's an interesting point. I suppose also it is a position where you tend to peak a bit later. You don't often get not going to get a 19-year-old Lucid who's just tearing the world up.
But these guys haven't had, like you said, it's been the same guys. Koch, Maher, Kitchell, it's been there for 5 years, so no one's had an opportunity to come in and make a statement.
It's Oxenchair instead of Tendai, instead of the Beast. That's the change in the squad.
So unless you watch, but you're right. I'm still trying to then think in the URC, the guys you are getting chances. Doesn't seem to be a standout. Like a guy that comes onto the scene like a Lucas Pambayon and smashes everyone at 21. And
I suppose also if you're looking at the different teams, for example, look, there's a Gerard Steenekamp, which they've taken him over. They've brought him in the squad, so I suppose he could be worth playing. But I mean, you think that Tuka was somebody that's quite highly rated. So, but I think he's got a lot of work to do with the scrummaging. But I suppose it's also a position where a lot of them are playing in South Africa. You know, Kitsop, Malherbe, it's only Trevor and Bitcock in the current props who actually play overseas. So.
So boys, it's with the also changing of coaches. We've got to be prepared. That's why to win this one. I'm sure we'll have more opportunities. but the Bok team is going to be a lot of changes coming in the next couple of years. Right? It's going to be unrecognizable because there's going to be a washout now. These guys this is their swan song. They're going to be leaving and new coach and new players. So 2-3 years we're going to be looking at a very, very different Bok side.
Yeah, Stevie. In the press conferences, have people been coming and asking Sia about his Springbok career post World Cup and obviously he's famously said that he thinks the Springbok captain should play rugby in Springbok, and then he's moving to France. So does that mean do you think he's dropping his captaincy?
I don't know what's going to happen. Some people suggesting that he might retire completely from international rugby. Go in the bank. I think a lot of it will depend on the World Cup results. Because I think if you do win the World Cup again, what a way to go. You go back to back. You win the World Cup, the British Irish Lions. You win the World Cup again. I think he's like 33 years old now. You then go and say, right, that's my legacy, chaps. The next person can come in. He's not even that. So he's 32, so he could play another 2 years, another World Cup. Suddenly sitting at 36. To be fair, he's playing his best rugby I think he's ever played. But no one's really been asking about it. To be fair, problem is he only features generally in that post-match press conference. So it's usually about the game. You're not really about his future. I think if he was featuring more in the pre-match press conferences like he would do if it was the normal non-World Cup stuff, then maybe that question might have come up. But they haven't really addressed it so far.
Yeah.
But anyway, chaps, I've got to watch along to get to. So we've got rugby in 45 minutes. So, chaps, as we always, thank you very much for jumping on.
I'm struggling with two SUPERBRU boys. Who's winning, Japan or Samoa? My hunch is saying Samoa, but people are fancying Japan.
I think you have to go. I think you have to back Japan.
I think that structure is going to beat. Oh gosh. Japan just aren't overly impressive at all, but Samoa, we're going to get everything again, I guess. Bit of indiscipline, a great try, some physicality, some real cards, and they're going to lose by 5. Is that what we're saying?
It will come out.
I just think Samoa are better side.
So everybody, if you're watching the stream over here, this will take you over there. Please do come and keep me company. Japan versus Samoa kickoff in 45 minutes. I'll be live that side in about half an hour to bring you guys some pre-build up. And Dan, we will see you this weekend on the fan cams at the stadium. He is coming and grabbing a spot on the couch down there at Marseille.
That's why I'm not coming, because I'm kind to let Dan have the couch. We're
putting Dan on the Freedom Sports casting couch.
I'll be in the seat.
What casting couch and then into the fake taxi to the game?
Yeah, there we go. That's a whole new series coming out.
That's why he's putting his bastards. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and on that note, we probably need to. Before this goes any further, before this really starts to go off down the road, we don't want it to go to. We'll call it there. Chris, enjoy your weekend. We will see you guys back on the platform next week.
Have a great time, guys. Yeah.
And to everybody else, we'll see you guys in a bit now on the Japan stream. Thank you much, and see you guys next time.